Chapter 7. Coming home late from school one day, Michael found a note on the kitchen table. Back at 6. Snacks in refrigerator. Love, Mom. P.S. No humming. No fighting. Michael called Norman's name. No answer. He headed for their room. Maybe Norman had not heard him. The door was open. Norman was not there. Neither was Fluffy. Michael panicked. Had Fluffy been stolen? Norman would be heartbroken. But why would burglars take one plant and not Michael's too? Was anything else gone? For one sinking moment, he wondered if Norman was also stolen. But who else could put up with him for more than 5 minutes? Especially if he started to sing. Anyone who stole Norman would have brought him back by now. He calmed down and got Norman's magnifying glass. There were no clues in the room, but the carpeting in the hall showed faint skateboard tracks. It looked like Fluffy had been rolled out. He followed the tracks around the corner to the front door. Just outside on the front walk lay another clue. An ice cream cone-shaped leaf. Had there been a struggle? Michael looked up and down the street. No Fluffy, no burglars, no Norman. A neighbor, Mrs. Smith, was clipping bushes in her front yard 4 houses down. Running over, he called out, "Have you seen anybody go by with a big weird plant? Or my brother?" "Yes. Norman went by a little while ago pushing a very big plant on rollers. When I asked him what he was doing, he said he was taking it for a walk. That Norman, he's so cute, always kidding around." "Which way did they go?" Mrs. Smith pointed toward the end of the street. "Around that corner." Michael ran on. Turning the corner, he saw Norman halfway down the block with Fluffy towering over him. Gathered around were 4 kids and 3 grown-ups. They were touching Fluffy and asking questions. "What kind of plant is this? Where can I get one of these? How did you get it to grow so big?" Norman was answering truthfully. "I can't exactly say." "You better come home now," said Michael. He grabbed Fluffy's main stem and pulled. Norman pushed, and they rolled away from the crowd. "Everybody likes Fluffy," said Norman. "But I didn't think they would ask so many questions." "You didn't tell about the socks, did you?" "No, but it was hard not to. If we could tell everybody, we'd be famous. We'd be on TV." "Forget TV. If we don't keep our deal, it'll be goodbye Fluffy, and my plant too." After they turned the corner, the sidewalk slanted slightly downhill, so Fluffy rolled along more easily. They did not have to push or pull, just steer to keep it on the sidewalk. Michael let go to stop and pick up a blue jay feather. When he caught up, Norman was jogging to keep up with the plant. Michael slowed it down. They were only 6 houses from home. In their driveway, Dad had come home early and was taking grocery bags out of the car. Michael noticed a bee following Norman. He warned, "Don't turn around and don't make any sudden moves." "Huh?" said Norman. "Now don't get excited, but there's a bee following you." Norman held his head still, but the bee flew right towards his face. He let go of Fluffy and ran into the nearest yard. Michael shoved Fluffy's front wheels onto the edge of the grass and sprinted after Norman. "Stand still," he yelled. Norman stopped. The bee came right up to his nose. He looked at it cross-eyed, but he did not move. Then the bee lost interest in Norman's nose and flew away. The boys turned back to Fluffy. But Fluffy was not where Michael had left it. It was rolling away down the sidewalk, with its leaves waving in the breeze. Mrs. Smith looked up from her clipping. She smiled as the huge plant whizzed by. "Oh, that Norman!" she exclaimed. She called, "Your plant is going for a walk by itself." Dad saw the plant zooming down the sidewalk, and his son was racing after it. "Stop that plant!" yelled Michael. "Fluffy, come back!" shouted Norman. Dad stepped out on the sidewalk, ready to grab the plant. As it hurtled toward him, he caught hold of a branch. Fluffy whirled around and tore away from his grasp. But that slowed it enough for Michael to catch up and get a good hold. Norman tackled the pot with both arms. The boys and Fluffy fell over in a heap on the grass. Dad helped them get untangled. After he made sure they were not hurt, he got mad. "What is this plant doing, running around loose?" he yelled. Michael explained. "I thought Fluffy was plant napped, and maybe Norman too." Norman added, "I was just taking Fluffy for a walk. We didn't mean to let him get away. It was the bee's fault." Dad replied, "When you're both ready to start making sense, let me know. Now get that crazy plant back in the house before anyone else sees it." But, of course, the yelling and the sight of a monster plant skateboarding down the block had not gone unnoticed. Some neighbors were peering out their windows. Others had come outside for a better look. Mrs. Smith was telling them all about it. Dad smiled and waved to the neighbors, just as if speeding plants were a regular, everyday thing. After they wrestled Fluffy back into the house, Dad warned sternly, "Don't ever take that plant for a walk again." Norman said, "I could save up and buy Fluffy a leash." "No." "Handcuffs?" asked Norman hopefully. "Don't even think it," said Dad. Norman dropped the subject. He could see Dad was about to start yelling again. "These plants are getting to be more trouble than they're worth," grumbled Dad. Michael protested. "Don't blame my plant, too. Mine stayed home and minded its own business." Dad still looked mad. At school, Jason asked Michael, "Have you thought of something for a science project yet?" "Not yet. Maybe I'll skip it this year if I can't think of something really great." "Are you still going to build a volcano that really works?" "Yeah, but I haven't figured out how to make it explode or what to use for lava. Maybe you could come over and help me decide what to do. Are you ever going to get permission to sleep over at my house?" "Pretty soon, I hope. I have to persuade my mom." "Then hurry up and talk her into it," said Jason. "We'll have a good time staying up late and talking and eating pizza and going through all my junk." "Okay," said Michael. "Then it'll be my turn to have you stay at my house." He added casually, "Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night?" "Never. My mom and dad always say a marching band could stomp through my room playing full blast and I wouldn't notice. I don't even hear my alarm clock. They have to drag me out of bed by my feet to get me up in the morning." "You're a really sound sleeper," said Michael, who was happy to hear this. "Yeah. What do you want to know that for?" "My mom doesn't like house guests who wake up easily during the night." "Why? Does she make a lot of noise at night?" "No. Just having light sleepers in the house would make her nervous." "Well, I won't make her nervous," Jason assured him. "An elephant stampede wouldn't wake me up." "We don't have many elephant stampedes," chuckled Michael. "Or marching bands either. At least not at night." They both burst out laughing. The part about the elephant stampede convinced Dad, but Mom still had some doubts. "We just can't take a chance on Jason seeing the plants eat." "He'll never know," argued Michael. "He'll be asleep." Mom protested. "But when I was a kid, we stayed up most of the night at sleepovers. Our parents kept getting up and yelling at us to shut up." "I promise we'll go to sleep long before the plants eat," said Michael. "Nobody wants to sleep at a sleepover," said Mom. Michael was ready for that one. "We'll have him over on a Friday night," he explained. "Since that's a school day, we'll all be getting up early that morning, so we won't be able to stay up real late that night. I promise I'll turn out the lights early enough and stop talking to him so he'll have to go to sleep." "Okay," agreed Mom. "But you go to Jason's first, just to make sure he really is a sound sleeper. Then we'll be sure he won't be taking any chances."